Good evening, Ghana, and welcome to the maiden edition of the Premier League show live here on Joy Sports. My name is Kwame Dwomoh, and this and every Tuesday between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. we're going to be bringing you the behind-the-scenes stuff of the English Premier League. We'll be recapping the goals scored in the Premier League together with all the issues that have been transpiring between match days, and of course, as we build up to the subsequent edition of games live here on the English Premier League, every single thing that you need to know on the English Premier League will be live here only on the Premier League show. I'm going to be taking a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, my analyst will be joining me in the studio as we recap all that transpired on match day 7 of the English Premier League. This is the Premier League show live here on Joy Sports on Naughty TV, and I'm sure you've been enjoying the coverage of the English Premier League only here on Joy Sports on Naughty TV, where every weekend we bring you the pictures of exclusive action from the English Premier League. Over the weekend, we brought you that game between Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Liverpool finding themselves top of the English Premier League on 16 points. It's been 5 wins, a draw and a loss. But before we go into the discussion, we'll recap all the goals that were scored in the English Premier League over the weekend. Let's enjoy the highlights.
After an inspired help after last weekend's shock victory at Manchester United, the Gunners created a handful of chances but lacked the clinical edge in the final third. Against the run of play, Claudio Jakob headed the Baggies into the lead just before the break. Nicholas Anelka spurned a glorious opportunity to double the host lead. The former Gunners striker fluffed his lines in front of goal. The visitors pressed for the equaliser. Olivier Giroud set up Jack Wilshere. The England man failed to hit the target. Anelka again could have put further daylight between the two teams. He was made to rue the squandered chance as Jack Wilshere met Thomas Rosiski's layoff.
Wonderful equaliser. How very Arsenal.
Bo Ismail prevented Giroud from claiming a late winner, but the draw was enough to take Arsene Wenger's side above Liverpool on goals scored.
White Hart Lane played host to the top versus bottom clash between Tottenham and West Ham on Sunday. Andrea Villas-Boas's side was desperately seeking 3 points that could move them into second on the standings and were the first to threaten. Andros Townsend jinxed past a couple of defenders before giving the ball to Gylfi Sigurdsson. Jerzy Jääskeläinen, though, making an easy save. Halfway through the first period, Moussa Dembele finds Townsend. The 22-year-old tried his luck from distance. The best chance of the half fell to Spurs. Paulinho's volley from a Townsend ball flashed wide. Both teams would seek improvement after the break. The second half seemed to be a completely different match. 20 seconds after the interval, Paulinho sets up Jermaine Defoe. Finn Jääskeläinen again came to the rescue of the Hammers. Spurs would come close again after some great interplay to set up the chance between Christian Eriksen, Sigurdsson and Paulinho, Defoe forcing a fine save. Sam Allardyce must have fired up his men in the change room as they took the lead completely against the run of play.
It's Reed, and at the second attempt, Winston Reed puts West Ham in front. Their first away goal of the season.
Ricardo Vaste would also be the beneficiary of a second bite of the cherry as he gave the Hammers their second. 11 minutes before the whistle, Ravel Morrison made it 3-0 to secure the win for the away side.
Sunday afternoon in the Barclays Premier League served up more action from the world's most watched domestic competition as Chelsea travelled to Norwich. In his second stint as the Blues manager, Jose Mourinho and his side have had an inconsistent start to their league campaign thus far. Player omissions by the Special One have stolen the headlines in recent times, but forgotten man Demba Ba set up the opener with the game still in its infancy.
Lampard for Ba. 1-0 Chelsea. Oscar without error.
He took that unerringly. Absolutely clean and concise. Roddy with no chance, right into the corner of the net.
Justifying his selection, Bar continued to trouble the host defence as John Ruddy kept the Senegalese striker out on several occasions. Against the run of play, Petr Cech maintained the visitors' advantage with 22 minutes gone. Chelsea's second though was slow in arriving, and again the Bar-Ruddy tussle continued with the England international prevailing. The tempo increased after the break and goal scorer Oscar was guilty of fluffing a chance of his own making in the 63rd minute. However, the Brazilian would rue that miss as Norwich equalised 5 minutes later.
Van Wolfswinkel, Lewis on goal! Pilkington round behind him! Norwich a level!
Despite a raft of substitutions, Chelsea were kept on the back foot as Chris Hughton's men grew in confidence. That said, two of Mourinho's changes would save the manager his blushes, as first Eden Hazard struck, then Willian broke Norwich hearts.
Neto crashed into the crowd. Willian! Oh, welcome! Welcome to the Barclays Premier League!
3-1 the final score as Chelsea registered their first away win of the season.
Suarez rolls the ball onto Enrique, back towards Luis Suarez! He just wouldn't give it up! It's a moment Liverpool fans feared. They
switched it to Enrique. That's where the damage is coming in wide areas.
Sturridge in from a wide area. He'll always want it on that left foot of his, and that is why. He's got defenders all over the land running scared, hanging for a penalty. Fine margins.
Well, I need to have another look at this. Absolutely no doubt that Sterling was tugged by his shirt, but I'm not sure this was outside. Well, I think it was outside. Moxie is the guilty one. The referee has reacted to the linesman who immediately raised his flag across his chest, so he had to give the penalty, but I think that's harsh on Palace.
Richard West with the decision. Did the contact start outside the penalty area? Steven Gerrard against Julian Speroni. Gerrard, who's yet to score this season. Steven Gerrard! No!
He does show great anticipation in the penalty box, and once again he gets their first. Poor marking from Liverpool. Nobody in front of him, just glances at it.
So he's not too exposed, too isolated, I should say.
Well, here is Giaccherini. Jackie, as they call him here. Oh, and Vidic has presented it back to Gardner, and his first Manchester United goal. That's more like the champions.
Yeah, didn't he take it well, Steve? On his weaker foot, the right side. He's the one who plays the ball out, and he's not waiting around, standing admiring that pass. And it was a good one. Everett just drives that ball across, not really to anybody. Matches, they take care of themselves to a certain extent.
And by Nani. Here's Januzaj! What a volley! Well, dynamic. Is onside. And he's through now, Lukaku! And Joe Hart can't keep that out! Toure looking for a rapid response. Kolarov, and it's going to go in off the Grado! David Silva. Aguero! If at first you don't succeed, try again. Zabaleta, Toure. Zabaleta, penalty for Manchester City.
Well, it's one of those. Coleman certainly made contact with Zabaleta as he came through there, but I think Zabaleta's certainly gone down very, very easily. And he's felt the contact there. It's just kind of turned him a little, and I think then he's decided to go. I suppose, you know, the referee has a case because Coleman did make contact, but it's soft.
I think he's booked Tim Howard there for his protest, and Distan as well, in fact. 2 yellow cards for Everton as a result of that.
Well, I think clearly they feel it's quite a soft decision by the referee too.
Yeah, it's a little harsh on Everton. It could be the decisive moment. Sergio Aguero. Oh, Howard unlucky!
Darren Bent came off the bench to score the winner in the second half to the relief of Fulham's under-pressure boss, Martin Jol.
Expectation is growing at St Mary's. Southampton's 2-0 win over Swansea takes them up to the heady heights of 4th place in the Premier League. They've kept 5 clean sheets from their first 7 games. These are good times on the South Coast.
Then Willian broke Norwich hearts.
So crashed into the crowd. Willian! Oh, welcome! Welcome to the Barclays Premier League!
Take care of himself to a certain extent.
And by Nani is Januzaj! What a volley! Well,
Suarez rolls the ball onto Enrique, back towards Luis Suarez. He just wouldn't give it up. It's a moment Liverpool fans feared.
David Silva. Aguero! If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Ziski's layoff.
Wonderful equaliser. How very Arsenal.
Well, you got to see the highlight of some of the games played over the weekend, and this particular segment has to do with the top 5 goals that were scored in the English Premier League. My analyst for today, Adnan Januzaj, has joined me in the studio as we recap all that transpired in the English Premier League over the weekend. Nana, good to see you.
Thanks very much. Great to see you.
You have been here helping me out with the analysis on match days. I'm sure you've been enjoying our coverage of the English Premier League so far.
Yeah, naturally. I mean, the English Premier League is... it's a league on its own, really, isn't it? And there's a lot of quality, the pedigree is there, and it's always something to watch. And I've come and joined you, and I've watched some fantastic games so far.
And thank you so much for making time to pass through your studios every weekend as we bring you live action from the English Premier League. Nana, you being a technical person, we're going to be going through the goals again, and you're going to help me with your pick for this week. Some cracking goals scored in the English Premier League. I will be getting to see those top 5 goals again shortly, and then Nana will be helping us out with which of the goals he thinks is his top goal of the week. Well, I have my thoughts on this one. Let's get to see those goals again as Nana would help us out with which of these goals
Then Willian
stands
broke
out.
Norwich hearts.
So crashed into the crowd. Willian! Oh, welcome! Welcome to the Barclays Premier League!
Take care of himself to a certain extent.
Okay, so we got to see the goal that was scored by Willian earlier on, and this was the goal scored by that young kid from Manchester United, Adnan Januzaj. He's only 18 years old, and there's a talk already of a £50,000 contract. And this was our 3rd goal scored by this man, and this game was live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. The goal scored by Luis Suarez. We'll be getting to see the goal by Sergio Aguero. It is no particular order. We are just picking our top 5 goals of the week, and Nana would help us with the goal that he thinks stands out. And this is a goal scored by the Arsenal kid, Jack Wilshere. This is our top 5 goals of the English Premier League. Nana, you got to see all the goals that were scored this weekend earlier, together with what we think is the top 5 goals of the week. But of course, we don't want to go into the debate about which goal stands out this weekend. Which one was your pick?
Well, I think I'll go for the Manchester United volley because I think the balance you need in terms of your body, the body shape as well, and he's got to watch the ball all the way down to his left boot, and from there it goes into the back of the net. Once he takes his eye off the ball as the ball is coming across, he won't score that, he won't hit the target, but he follows the ball all the way, right the way down to the left boot and puts that ball in the back of the net. For me, that was the goal of this weekend.
Well, those are classic goals scored in the weekend. Well, I thought the goal scored by Willian against Norwich City was also some goal, but, well, Nana is a technical person. I'm only the presenter. My thoughts may not necessarily matter. We get to see the goals again. What a strike by Willian on Sunday it was when Chelsea took on Norwich City. And this is Nana's goal.
Well, you have a look at this. The ball comes across, outside of the boot, it's headed away, and look at that.
Technique, I guess.
That's a great, fantastic technique. That's a great finish. He actually did it with the right boot and not the left. But as it comes over, he's got to follow that ball all the way over. If he takes his eye off for a split second, he'll not hit the target.
If he takes his eye off for a split second, he's not going to be hitting target. And congrats to that young kid. We get to see the goal again. Sweet volley. At 18 years old, he's on the verge of signing a £50,000 contract with Manchester United. That is if he decides to do...
50,000 a week, obviously.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll be bringing you a report on that young kid, Adnan Januzaj, later in the program, how he was spotted in Belgium and how far he has come in his career. Well, the strikers have been doing their best in front of goal, but the goalkeepers have also been making some amazing saves in the Premier League over the weekend. Again, this is our pick of 3 saves over the weekend. Again, the technical analyst Nana Jama would help us with which goal he thinks, which save he thinks stands out as the very best.
Summer when he brought Ozil. And that is a deflected shot by Berahino that caused problems for Szczesny.
He may be playing in that wide position, but you saw his striker's instincts here. As soon as he picked it up, he only had one thing on his mind, trying to engineer that bit of space to get his shot in off the target. It does take the slightest of deflections off.
Okay, so we get to see the 3 top saves that we think were the standout ones over the weekend. Nana, thus was a game between West Bromwich Albion and Arsenal over the weekend. Now, if we get to see a lot more replays about this goal, then you understand why it would pass as one of our saves for this weekend. Well, this game was live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. Outstanding save made by the Crystal Palace goalkeeper from Luis Suarez. That close and that kind of save, you don't make it every day, Nana.
Well, you don't, but I mean, to be honest with you, it's been made easy for him by the height that the ball has been struck. You have a look here, it's come back. I think it's Suarez who's picked it up. He's gone for the near post. The keeper's never to be beaten at his near post, really, is he?
Well, it does happen, and you can ask Joe Hart, and he will tell you that he conceded some very poor goals against Bayern Munich in the UEFA Champions League. We recap those saves again. Now, the save for me was just brilliant. He was moving in one direction if you're going to be seeing that replay again. And then he had to make that quick turn. From this angle, it's even better. I mean, he was moving in one direction. He had to come back to the other direction and still managed to make the save.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, the sting of the shot was taken out by one of the Arsenal defenders. If you see it hits his butt. And the sting of the ball is taken off. It's diverted, of course. Have a look here. There it goes, hits his butt, and that takes the sting out of the shot. Despite the fact that it's going in a different direction and the keeper's gone one way, he's now got the dexterity to come back and palm that ball away. But had the sting not been taken out of that shot, it would have gone all the way. And here we see the shot. It's coming back to Suarez in a minute. The first shot is blocked. Suarez picks it up. He goes for the near post, and, you know, I think that's a bread and butter save. I don't think there's anything extraordinary about that. It's near post shot, near post save, bread and butter.
Bread and butter save for the Crystal Palace goalkeeper, Nana. The West Brom goalkeeper on the day. And then he made, this was the West Brom goalkeeper. Actually, he made the save from Olivier Giroud with the score that 1-1. Arsenal could have gone on to get a result in this game. But for goalkeepers especially, I mean, for a team like Arsenal with the form in which they were going into this particular game, it would have been 11 from their last 11 games. And for Szczesny to make that kind of save, you've got to applaud him for that.
Of course. I mean, for me, that would be my best save out of the 3 that I've seen so far. Even though the sting of the shot has been taken off, he can clearly see from his boot at the top corner of the set there that he's clearly gone the other way. He's now got to throw himself this way, and he's got to be measured dive, or else the ball goes under his hand. So he does very well there. That's definitely my best save. This one again, I show you, it's nothing extraordinary. It's he's gone for the near post. The keeper's covered his near post already. It's just a bread and
We've
butter
seen
save.
goalkeepers concede goals this season from their near post
but they shouldn't.
such distance, very short distance between them, and the reflex save for us is the reason why we picked it amongst our top three.
Well,
if we could even just go back a bit on that one, well, we'll get to see it pretty shortly though. If we get to see this one, I mean, he's already in the box. Now, watch the distance between Suarez and the goalkeeper.
He's 8 yards out. He's 8 yards out. He's driven the shot, but still, nothing to it. Near post. He's got the near post covered. And the shot makes it easy for the save because of the height. And I mean, there's no way he should let that go in. Here's a more difficult save because the keeper is clearly beaten. He's scrambling all over the place, but he still has the peace of mind to follow the ball, and he gets his hands outstretched. This is the most difficult save out of the three. No two ways about it.
Well done to Wojciech Chesney, these days first choice goalkeeper of Arsenal. He's got a lot of competition from his colleague goalkeeper, incidentally from the same nation as Fabianski, who is more like a second choice. Arsene Wenger choosing to rotate these two goalkeepers, and at some point he seems to have settled in on Wojciech Chesney at the moment, and well, he rewards his team, his fans and his manager with that kind of save, which doesn't happen every day. Just a little more discussion on this Liverpool team. This game was live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV, and this and every weekend we're going to be bringing you one live game from the English Premier League this and every weekend. Now, for all the save that was made by this Crystal Palace goalkeeper on the day, you would have to give some kind of credit to the Crystal Palace team for at least keeping the scoreline down on that particular day. It could have been worse.
Well, it could have been worse. It should have been. But Liverpool took their foot off the pedal, to be honest with you. I mean, they came out in the second half. I was expecting 3 more goals, and instead it was Crystal Palace who scored a goal themselves. And they shouldn't have been allowed to, really. And I think the manager will be a bit upset with that. Liverpool should have kept a clean sheet. There was no reason to concede. They had the game wrapped up. They should have come back out, doubled their money, and gone inside, knowing that they collected 3 points and were back on the table.
Well, someone would say that watching these goalkeepers make these saves looks a little easy on the eye, but I'm sure when you put this to Joe Hart, who was being at the receiving end of some very poor goals, he would not say these goals have come in that easily.
Well, I'm not a goalkeeper either, but I'm just looking at the positioning and the movement, and as I say for this, I mean, there's no way I would say this is a top draw save. It's a good save, but there's very little for Suarez to shoot at. You have a look again. What does he have to shoot at? It's very, very little, and the goalkeeper does well to get in there. Here, the keeper's beaten. He's already beaten. He's scrambling, but he still collects himself very well and gets round to get his arms out to block that. And this is, for me, the top draw save.
Well, so for you, the save by Wojciech Chesney is save of the week?
That's top draw. It's top draw. No two ways about it. But at the same time, the sting of the shot was taken out, but it still could have got in there. You look at the defenders as they turn around looking at that ball going the other way, and they're all having nightmares because they think that's going in until the keeper gets his hand to it and palms it wide.
Well done to Wojciech Chesney, the goalkeeper of Arsenal. We're going to be taking a short break at this point. When we come back, there's still a lot more coming up on the Premier League show live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. We're going to be bringing you all the controversies that arose from the performance of officials on match day. We'll also be keeping you up to speed with the latest news from the English Premier League. Gus Poyet is the new manager of Sunderland, and Arsene Wenger and Aaron Ramsey have been named player and manager of the month. We'll be back shortly. It is a Premier League show live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV, and the Infansipim Old Boys Association, that's the 1983 year group, with the ably support of the coordinating year groups of MOBA 63, 73, 93 and 2003, gladly announced to the general public and fellow old boys the 137th anniversary fundraising dinner dance. Now the venue is the Air Force Officers Mess on the Giffard Road, and that's near Elwak Sports Stadium in Accra. The date is Saturday, October 12, 2013, and the time is 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Now you come meet up with your old buddies and share in the good old fun. Enjoy the atmosphere and make new pals while showcasing your dance moves with the Sumanguru Band. Now the dress code, they say, is traditional or formal. Now for tickets, dedicated dispatch riders are ever ready to stand by to get you your tickets. Now just make the call to the following numbers: 0244 676 418, and that's Ralph Agbenaza, and to 0271 777 000, and that's Leonard Vanderpoel Orgel, or pick them up at our panel Care and Foster at Abraka, opposite our Trust Towers, or you can contact Mr. Eric Boating on 0244 367 315. Drink, share, kind. So if you're a member of the 1983 year group, well, they are inviting you to the 137th anniversary fundraising dinner dance of Infansipim College. It's a Premier League show live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. Now, the actions and inactions of match officials on match days can be a cause of concern for many player and football fans at large. In that segment, you're going to be seeing some of the controversies that arose during the week as my panelists and myself analyze these particular incidents. You're going to be seeing them on your screen pretty shortly. Nana, the work of officials is a very, very difficult one on match days.
Yeah, certainly a very difficult job to do. You've got to make, split-second decisions, but it's been made a bit more easier with the fact that the officials can now communicate via earpiece and buzzers and stuff like that, straps to the arm.
Okay, so here we are. With some moments that we picked up in the course of the week. Now, this was the game between West Brom and Arsenal. Watch this one. If my director could just hold it here so that we can focus on the tackle on the day. Well, Yusuf Mulumbu has won the ball from Jack Wilshere, but the tackle from where he comes from, Nana, for us, that could have easily been a penalty as well.
Well, it could have also broken Wilshere's leg. But, the referee's right there on the spot, and that's what's important. There he goes. You see the referee's right there. He's got his head down. He's watching everything. So he's seen the lunge in by Mulumbu, but he's clearly won the ball. He's clearly won the ball, but he's taken a bit of the man after.
Well, he may have taken a bit of the man after. We get to see a lot more controversies this week. Now, this one would look like a very normal tackle on any day, but watch this. Now, watch the arms of Matijan Nastasic from this point.
Well, he's given him a little nudge there, but the laws of the game allow for that sort of thing, because so far as both players are within 5 yards playing distance of the ball.
Now, from this angle, it's even
shoulder
better.
Charge.
And we'll get to see that particular incident again. And this was a game in which Man City didn't really play well, but they still managed to get their results from a very close angle.
They're both within playing distance. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in it. Just, he's supposed to be strong there and hold up. There's nothing in it. I agree with the ref. That wasn't a penalty. It looks worse than it actually is, to be honest with you.
Well, the Premier League is a very, very strong and competitive league, and these things happen on any day. You never know. That could have been a pen for Everton, and if they are taking a 2-goal lead at this point, well, Man City would have been in a lot of trouble. We'll be catching up with a few more controversies that arose in the course of the week. Now, this is another one from, again, the Arsenal-West Brom game. Now, watch this run by Stefan Sessegnon. And Nana, again, you're going to be walking us through. Just look at how he goes past the Arsenal players in there. Is there contact? Is there contact?
There is contact, but it's outside the box. It's outside the box. The worst that can happen there is a direct free kick.
Now, from a replay, it looks very easy for us, you know, sitting comfortably in here in our chairs and making these decisions. But for the refs on match day, they have just a split second to decide on some of these things, and it could cost the team.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, on this side, where he's coming from, he's got the assistant right there, who's also in line with the play, who's watching what is going on. You know, and at this point, the referee will be like 10 yards away, across from this incident, and he will automatically look across to his assistant.
Well, again, the referees are Nana thinks he is right there on the spot.
He's got it spot on. He would have had a glance at his assistant, and his assistant also has the ability to show him that is a penalty. It's not a penalty, it's outside the box. And the assistant doesn't raise his flag, he just moves in line with the ball. The referee knows that there's no infringement there and play must continue.
Well, you can make your way onto the Facebook wall of my analyst. He's more like the technical person in the studio this evening. So it is his pick of the issues that we're going to be discussing in here. Make your way to the Facebook wall of Nanajima. What do you think is your best goal of the 5 that we brought to you earlier on? What do you think is the best among the 3 saves that we brought to you earlier on? And what do you make of some of these controversial decisions that arose over the weekend? And this is another one, and for a lot of Everton fans at the Etihad on Saturday, they were gutted by this particular penalty, and you would get to see the replay and you understand why Coleman was clearly unimpressed with the decision of the ref to give a penalty in this case. Now we've seen this happen many times, and if a ref is going to be given a penalty for this, we could have 100 penalties in a game.
Not necessarily. I think what you've got to bear in mind is, once again, you can look across, you can see the assistant, he's upward play, you can see where the referee is. Now, the referee doesn't give this penalty on its own. It's the assistant who then goes to bring the flag up across his chest, and that's when the referee points to the spot. You look at the referee, the player's gone down, he still hasn't pointed yet, he's looking across to the assistant. Now he points. It's because the assistant has got his flag placed across his chest, and that means a penalty should be awarded.
Well, my understanding is that, you know, the referee works in tandem with the assistant ref. He doesn't necessarily have to give everything by the assistant ref.
No, he doesn't have to, and he's got a good position there as well, because he can see the 2 players, he can see the ball, he can see everything himself. Now, he's looked across there because perhaps he just has a percentage of doubt, and having looked across there and seen the assistant put the flag across his chest, that makes his mind up there and then. And the ball is still moving, we're still in that phase of play, and he's looking all the time as the player is travelling on the ground, the ball is also moving, he still hasn't pointed to the spot, he's looking at his assistant. And if you let that run on,
well,
you see, he looks across, hang on, he's still looking across, and it's now he's going to point to the spot. It's not a decision that he made on his own. It's a decision that he was assisted by his assistant, who put the flag across his chest, because from where the assistant was, he had a better view.
No, let's go through the basics of an infringement. I mean, any foul within the 18-yard box is a penalty.
No, not necessarily. You can on some rare occasions get indirect free
kicks. So that in this particular instance, you would say that in as much as there was contact, they say the application of a certain level of common sense by the ref and the assistant ref is also extremely very important. Let's watch the run of Pablo Zabaleta there. In this particular instance, I'm not sure what exactly the Everton player in there, Coleman, could have done, looking at his body language.
Well, he's beaten. He's left for dead. This is what's going to happen. So he doesn't have any choice now except to hold on to whatever he can, and he catches an arm and he twists him and turns him. He doesn't have any other choice because the run from Zabaleta is crucial. The through ball is excellent. He's going to be left for dead, and Zabaleta is going to get there well before him. So now he has no other option. He must either tug at the shirt, he must either tug at the arm, but he must get some contact on the player to stop him from getting to the ball first. And as I said to you, the assistant is well in line with that play. He's seeing everything. The referee also has a bird's eye view as well, but the referee has left it to the assistant to make the final decision on that because he's totally in line with him, and then he points to the spot. He doesn't give this penalty kick on his own.
Well, that penalty would give Man City a 3-1 lead in this game, and City would go on to win this game as their fourth straight win at the Etihad this season, but they're struggling to get points on the road. Pablo Zabaleta being brought down there.
Yeah, you
by
see it. It's a
Coleman.
great ball by Torre. It's well measured. Have a look at this. It looks like it's nothing, but when you're moving, you have a look. He just palms him off. He just palms him off, and it's sufficient to spin him off that ball. You have a look. It'll look like nothing, but it's a lot of contact.
Well, it comes with some level of experience playing at the very highest level, and someone would say Pablo Zabaleta was playing for this one, but well, once the ref has given it, he would be very happy with that. So those were some of our controversies for this week, and well, Sergio Aguero scoring his second goal of the night on that day, celebrating with the man who got in the equalizer. Now, this was another of those controversies over the weekend. This was the game between Southampton and Swansea at the St. Mary's Stadium. Southampton may have won this game, but this particular incident was a bit laughable from what we saw of it earlier on, the decision given by referee McDean. Now, when you watch this corner kick and you go through the motion, it's very difficult to see what exactly Mr. McDean whistled for in this particular incident. You just can't simply see anything, and he whistles for some kind of infringement.
Yeah, he does. I can't see him in the picture at the moment because that would give me a better idea of the angle of what he's looking at. But for me, being a former referee, he should be positioned just at the edge of the screen there, diagonally in line with the post that we can see across there. But okay, there he is. There he is. So he's taken another approach. He's banging almost in the centre of the goal. And he can see everything in front of him.
Well, he can clearly see something that we can't see, but the more you watch it, the more difficult it is from where we are to find out what exactly was wrong with this set piece by the Saints. What a start it's been for Southampton this season. And that man, the Kenyan boy, Victor Wanyama, thought he had got his name on the score sheet. Referee McDean thought otherwise. So a lot of controversy in the English Premier League and in world football at large.
He's indicating there that there was some
kind
tugging.
of pull.
Yeah, there's some pulling going on. That's a clear indication. So he knows what he's seen. There's been some pushing and shoving, and in particular pulling. We can't see it from there.
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, when you watch this goal over and over and over and over again, it's very difficult to see what exactly Mr. McDean whistled for in here. He is indicating from his body language that there was a bit of tagging, but the more you watch this goal, the more difficult it is to see where this tagging took place. A bit of controversy with football every day, every day. Every day, and I'm not sure this will be the last incident that we're going to be seeing as far as our controversies in our game takes place. This thing happens every other day.
But the point I want to make about this one, I mean, if you notice, a player goes up to him and he starts doing that. What do the rest of the players do? They all go away. And one of the reasons why they all go away is because of the position of the referee. If he was like 15 yards away, all hell will break loose. A lot of remonstration against that decision. But the fact that he is about 10 yards away, he's standing there having a look. They can see where he is. He's got a view just like that, so he can see everything. The remonstration is down to the minimum. You're just having one player coming to him and saying, well, ref, I didn't see what it was. Can you clarify that for me? He says, OK, John, there was a bit of pulling in there in the 6-yard box. That's what I saw, and that's why I'm giving a direct free kick. So you've got to give a lot of credit to the referee. And you see, the players also understand the game because he's right on top of it. He's right there. He can see what is happening. No one is saying anything whatsoever. So they actually accepted that decision, hook, line and sinker, with a very minimum of fuss.
Well, as long as the players did not make too much of that decision, was Southampton at that time were in a 2-goal lead, and maybe, just maybe, that's why they didn't complain too much. But there's a lot also happening in the English Premier League. We'll bringing you some news making the rounds. Quite a number of players injured, and it will be an interesting one for you to see pretty shortly. Let's catch up with the news from the English Premier League.
Final 2 World Cup qualifiers with a thigh strain could be out for up to a month for Manchester City. Company limped out of City's win over Everton on Saturday.
Better news for Manchester United and Marouane Fellaini. The Belgian coach Vital Boukemans has told us he's fit to play in their qualifiers. The midfielder missed United's win at Sunderland on Saturday with a wrist injury that could require surgery in the future.
Christian Benteke has been ruled out of Friday's qualifier with Croatia, but could return for the home game with Wales on Tuesday. The Aston Villa striker suffered a hamstring injury at Norwich 2 weeks ago and was initially ruled out for a month.
In the summer, those are Maurizio Tirico, his former teammate from Tottenham Hotspur, the former fullback there. He will join as his assistant, and also come along will be Charlie Otway.
Well, Poyet scored one of his most memorable goals as a Chelsea player against Sunderland back in 1999.
Well, Poyet's first coaching role was as assistant manager to Dennis Wise at Swindon. He was there for 17 games, and together they had a 53% win rate. The pair then moved to Leeds. Poyet was again assistant manager, and they won 23 of their 50 games at Ellen Road. In October 2007, Poyet joined Tottenham as the assistant manager. He was there for 54 games, including a League Cup final victory over Chelsea. His only job as manager was at Brighton, where he was in charge for 194 games and had a win rate of 44%.
Well, this is the size of the task in hand for Poyet. Sunderland sit bottom of the Premier League, having taken 1 point out of a possible 21.
So Sunderland's next game, as we were hearing, is away at Swansea. And then Poyet's first home game will be the massive derby against Newcastle. Then it is Southampton at home, Hull away, Manchester City at home, and a trip.
That Gus Poyet brings in a brand of football, and the way he played and had his team playing at Brighton was quite refreshing, you know, a la kind of Swansea, if you like. And everyone goes on about tippy-tappy football, but I personally think that the football that he played was brilliant, you know, and a joy to watch. So in the time that he gets here, I hopefully see a different style of football and different personnel. I'm sure it's going to be difficult to sort of stamp his mark on the team straight away for the forthcoming games. You know, you've got the Swansea game away and you've got the Newcastle game at home, which is going to be a passionate affair. So it's going to be difficult in the next couple of weeks to get everything he wants and all his ideas across to the players, but I'm sure in time he'll get it right. I don't think there's an easy time for a manager to go into a club, because if you're going into a club that's had the manager sacked, then ultimately they've had a bad start or a bad time. So I think it's a case of him coming in, and like you say, he needs an immediate impact, and hopefully he'll get something down at Swansea which will take them brilliantly into the home game against their local rivals Newcastle.
Great month for the club, with 4 wins out of 4 in September, leaving them at the top of the league. Ramsey played a key role in that success, scoring 4 goals and setting up another.
Contributed an assist. He's also made more tackles in the Premier League than any other player so far this season. He's not the only Arsenal player in this shortlist.
So a lot are happening in the English Premier League since match days on Saturday and Sunday. Nana is still in here with me. We're going to be taking a look at some of these stories. Gus Poyet, I recall his days with Chelsea. He was thus, you know, bustling midfielder who contributed his fair share of goals to the Chelsea side. What kind of manager have Sunderland gone in for?
That would be a question best suited for Di Canio.
Exactly.
But he's gone. But I mean, Gus is a quiet man. I mean, he's not an eccentric like Di Canio. He can see quite clear that there's a huge challenge in front of him because somehow he's got to resuscitate the fortunes of Sunderland. It's a big job for him. I don't know what he's promised them, but I would like to think that what he has promised them is that they'll have Premiership survival. It's not too late for that. He's got to go and reorganise the club, reorganise the team. I don't know how he's going to get along with the Italians that have come in to do the Italian job but failed. But he's got to do a lot of work with them. Will he put them in exile or will they be included in his plans? And I think considering the amount of money that's been spent to get them there, even though it didn't break the bank, I think he's got to ensure that they're a part of the plans and that they work in accordance with the regime that he wishes to establish. He's a cool guy, calm-headed. I think he's very practical, very pragmatic in his approach to coaching. And I would like to think that he'll be able to turn this round within about 2 or 3 matches.
Well, he's done very well for himself at Brighton, and he's bringing in an impressive CV, having played in the English Premier League for some time as a player and doing very well, yeah. And having had relative success with Brighton too.
Yeah, but Brighton, it's you know, I mean,
with all due respect to them,
yeah, with all due respect, it's at a different level. But you know, what we can take from the Brighton experience is that he's been able to instill his philosophy within the Brighton fraternity, and that's what he's got to do here and now. It's a bit easier because to a certain extent none of the players really adopted Di Canio's philosophy, did they? And that's why he flopped in such a big way. So their minds are quite open to listening to what Gus has got to say, and obviously they don't want to end up being in a club that is relegated. So you know, they've got another bite at the cherry. It's not too late. They've got to listen to what Gus says. They've all got, you know, different levels of pedigree and quality, and they've got to learn to combine it very well and deliver the goods on the day.
Nana, Wenger and Ramsey voted manager and player of the month. Not surprising.
Not surprising. It could have been Ozil though, couldn't it?
You're right.
No, but I mean, you know, Wenger, I mean, you know, we say a lot about this man, but we don't really appreciate what he's really done for this club.
Maybe he's
Arsenal.
not won enough.
Maybe he's not won enough, but he's turned the club around. He's turned the fortunes of the club around. This is a club that doesn't owe the type of huge bills that Manchester United and the Liverpools and all this. And all this is it's also very important for clubs as well, you know, to have low expenditure. Now, he's turned it around by getting players in that cost next to nothing and sending them out costing millions. And, you know, to ensure that, you know, your team plays in the Champions League 16 years on the trot. I mean, that's got to be saying something.
Well, Nana, my understanding is that you've got quite a few messages in there. What have your viewers been telling you on the social media concerning the choices you have made this evening?
Well, at the moment, I can just see Tony Osei Akua, and he says Aguirre's, the goal scored by Aguirre was a classic.
Well, that's why you have a choice. Yeah. That's why you have a choice. And that is my in-house analyst for today. Just make your way to his Facebook page. He's making all the big decisions in the studio this evening. And he thinks that for him, the goal that was scored by Adnan Januzaj was his pick of the week. And the save that was made by Wojciech Szczesny in post for Arsenal was the save of the week, the goal of the week by Adnan Januzaj for him. You have your thoughts as well. Make your way to the page of my analyst in-house because he's making the big decisions in there. We'll take our final round of commercials at this point. When we come back, we'll be bringing you an exclusive report we have on that young kid, Adnan Januzaj, and how he made it from his club in Anderlecht to the English Premier League. You stay tuned with us. It's the maiden edition of the Premier League show live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. Now, just before we went for the break, I was telling you of that young Manchester United West kid, Adnan Januzaj, who made a name for himself over the weekend with those 2 goals he scored against their opponents on the match day, which was Sunderland. There's been a lot of talk about this young man. We bring you a report on how this young man has made it thus far.
Guided the career of the Premier League's newest star, is pleased his former charge is making headlines, but has regrets too.
Today we are big losers.
Manchester United were winners on Saturday thanks to Adnan Januzaj. 2 goals in his first Premier League start stunned the world, but didn't surprise Anderlecht's academy chief. Young Adnan was just 10 when he joined the club.
Adnan was a nice player. Adnan was technically very, very skilled. He was very intelligent on a pitch, and it was a hard worker, but a silent worker.
He was so good that at every level he was put with boys older than him. At 12 in the under-14s, at 14 in the under-16s. But his age wasn't all that made him stand out from most of those around him.
They have 12, 13, 14 years old, and they have earrings, and they have special hairdress. But Adnan was a nice, quiet boy. And when I see him now playing for Man United, you know, he didn't change much.
Other well-known Anderlecht Academy products have gone on to star for Belgium, but Januzaj is holding out. His parents are Albanian. There are other options too. Even England expressed an interest. Belgian head coach Mark Wilmots confirmed he asked Januzaj to play against Croatia this Friday and/or Wales on Tuesday, but he declined the call-up.
So
he's going to stay with United?
Yeah, he's going to stay with United on this, and not for Belgium and not for every other country.
So, staying with United. A big new deal is in the pipeline, but the club that found and nurtured him will see little, if any, of the money.
If the father decides that his son is leaving us, then we have to make the best deal possible. And 3 years ago we thought it was a good deal, and today we have to say, well, okay, it was a good deal, but it isn't anymore.
On the pitches where young Januzaj learnt his trade, the success of the boy who shares a birthday with Cristiano Ronaldo makes the next generation dream. One day, soon, could it be them?
One day, it could be the kid of Nana Ajman. You never know. You just never know. These players come from all over the planet, and when they're growing up, you might not really see how far they can go from that point. But Adnan Januzaj and the story is a very interesting one.
Very interesting story. You know, the whole thing about it is to have a youth development program. You've got to have the structures in place. I mean, he's coming from Belgium, and he's now competing with other kids that have been in academies in the UK, especially, for example, in Manchester United. This is the future of football. The future of football are youngsters. You know, they're the future of football. They're the ones that carry the flame of football into the next century. You've got to be nurturing, you've got to be developing youths at all levels, all the time. Discovered at 10, you know, 10 years of age.
And 8 years down the line, he plays for Manchester United.
Plays for Manchester United. So, you know, it's just to show you that the structures are in place there. They, you know, they have proper qualified coaches there who take them through structured coaching sessions in a safe and sound environment, and they produce the best, because this boy clearly is going to be one of the best.
And it doesn't happen every day when a young kid has the option to play for about 4 or 5 different countries. He comes from Albania. He can play for Albania, Kosovo, Belgium, and even England.
And even England. And England won't miss up on that opportunity, I can tell you.
Well, we'll see. I don't recall the last time a player naturalized and played for England, apart from players who come in from the Caribbeans who have made their way into the English setup. Practically every other player is British, if you like. Let's catch up with our results of all the matches that were played in the English Premier League over the past weekend. So there you are, Chelsea getting a result against Norwich City, Southampton getting a 2-0 win over Swansea. Spurs are strangely losing by 0-3 to West Ham United. West Brom drawing 1-0 with Arsenal. Man City winning 3-1 against Everton. Cardiff losing by a goal to 2 to Newcastle United, who were themselves struggling at this point. Fulham getting a result against Stoke Hull City, drawing 0-0 with Aston Villa. Liverpool winning by 3 goals to 1 against the Crystal Palace, and Sunderland losing by 1 goal to 2 to Manchester United. Let's get to see how the table is looking like. If we do have them, well, this is the top goal scorers for this for the English Premier League so far. Daniel Sturridge has got 6 goals, Lloyd Remy on 5 for Newcastle United, Sergio Aguero, Yaya Toure and Olivier Giroud in that order. Well, let's get to see the upcoming fixtures on October the 19th. There are no matches this weekend as a result of internationals, but these are matches that will be coming up in the next week of action in the English Premier League. The third game you see there, Chelsea versus Cardiff, is going to be live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV on the 19th of October. You take note of that one. So here you are. If you're a fan of any of these 20 clubs, these games are going to be coming up on the 19th of October. And you do remember, Chelsea, Cardiff City will be live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. Well, this is our mess of the week. From that distance, Victor Moses conspires to blow away that opportunity. Nana, what would you make of that?
Well, I don't
3-4 yards?
I don't think he knew very much of that. 2 yards. I don't think he knew very much of that. When that ball came over, it was driven across. It's hit him on the left thigh almost and bounced up and hit the crossbar. I don't think he knew very much about that, to be honest. He was in the right place at the right time, but the way the ball was driven across, he couldn't get the side of the boot up to cushion that ball in, and it's just hit the bar and gone away.
It's just hit the bar and gone away, and Victor Moses would have been very happy to score at the stadium. Remember, he's on loan from Chelsea, and well, I'm sure he's very happy that he's moving to Merseyside, just like Daniel Sturridge when they were not getting opportunities in London, and I've moved on. Even from this angle, it makes it a lot more embarrassing, maybe.
Well, fair dues to him. He's actually tried to put that ball in the back of the net, because there's a small movement from the knee. If you have a look here, he's actually tried to side foot that ball in, and he thinks it's going in as he turns away, patting himself on the back, and then he hits the crossbar and he realises that's a wobbly.
Well, from that distance, you've got to score. And on that note, we draw the curtains on the maiden edition of the Premier League show live here on Joy Sports on Multi TV. You do make a date with us same time next week. But of course, I can't leave without thanking my analyst in the studio to help us out with the review program. Thank you so much, Dana, and thanks to the entire Joy Sports team for production, and of course our technical crew and duty. I say thank you very much. And for you, my cherished viewer out there, make a date with me same time next week between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. as we bring you another edition of the Premier League show. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.